The final part of this lesson is taking a look at some word problems. So how do you approach a word problem? This is my general thought process anytime I see a word problem. Step 1, read through the problem to identify what you are solving for. Step 2, define a meaningful variable, usually related to the thing that you're trying to solve for. Step 3, write an equation to model the information provided. This is where I go back and reread the question an extra time or two to make sure I have all the information correct. Once I'm convinced that my equation models the information appropriately, I'm going to then solve the equation and go back and make sure that I answer the question using a complete sentence. All right. So let's take a look at just first, how do we take verbal descriptions and convert them into mathematical expressions, okay? So write an algebraic expression to match each verbal description below. So A, quadruple the difference between a number and 11. Okay, quadruple means do 4 times something, okay? Quadruple is 4 times something. What are we multiplying? Well, we're doing 4 times the difference between a number and 11. So I've got some number and 11, and I want their difference. So quadruple the difference between a number and 11. So I've got to find the difference first and then quadruple that quantity, okay? Because I'm quadrupling the difference, not the distance, the difference. So I need parentheses around the n minus 11, and then I have 4 times that. Okay. B, half of the sum of 5 and double a number. So I need half of something. So I need half of something. That something is the sum of 5 and double a number. Sum means add. The sum of 5 and double a number, 2 times a number, okay? That's one way I could write it. I could have also done it all over 2 to do half of, and I could have done 5 plus 2n like this. And addition can really be written in any order, so I could have also done 2n plus 5. That still would have been the sum of double a number and 5. Okay. And then for C, 10 less than the cube of a number. All right. So I have to do 10 less than something. So I have to do something, take away 10. Less than statements are almost always written backwards. I need 10 less than something, so I need to know what the something is, and I need to take 10 away from it. Well, what am I taking 10 away from? I'm taking 10 away from the cube of a number. Cube of a number means I'm taking a number and I am cubing it, raising it to the 3rd power. So I want 10 less than the cube of a number. So I do the cube of the number first, and then I take 10 away from it. All right, so those are algebraic expressions to match verbal descriptions. All right, now let's take a look at an actual word problem, something to solve. All right, so problem number 14. Patrick's scores on his science tests were 78, 84, and 65. He has one more test coming up, which will count double. What does he need to get on his final test to have an 83% average? All right, so what are we trying to figure out? Well, he's got a test coming up, and we don't know what he's going to get. So I'm going to say, let X equal his last test grade. All right, what do we know? We know that he had a 78, he had an 84, and he had a 65. And he's got this one more test, but it's going to count double. So I'm going to have 2x for the last test. And I want it to average out to an 83. Okay. Well, average means add them up and divide by how many there are. Now, here's where you got to be careful. There's 1, 2, 3, and this one counts double for 5. There are 5 test scores total because the last one's being counted double. All right, so this is the equation I want to solve. So again, I have the known scores of 78, 84, and 65, plus double the remaining upcoming test, and I want to get an average out to 83. Well, I don't want to sit there and guess and check my way through this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do times 5 and times 5. Okay, times 5 and times 5. And that'll make the 5s on this side go away. All right, 78 84 and 65 adds up to 227, and then I've got the 2x. 83 times 5 is 415. And now I want to solve. Subtract the 227 from both sides. Taking away 227 gives me 188. Divide out the 2 next. Half of 188 is 94. So here's the news for Patrick. Patrick needs, because we should write a full sentence. If we start with words, we should end with words. Patrick needs a 94 on the upcoming test. Okay, so all word problems should be met with word answers. Patrick needs a 94 on the upcoming test. Now I could be more thorough and I could say Patrick needs to earn a 94 on the upcoming test to earn an 83 average, but less is more with me for most part. You just want it to be a complete thought, okay? All right, we have one final problem left. One last word problem. Problem number 15, final problem of the day. The sum of 3 consecutive even numbers is 144. What are the 3 numbers? Okay, first, we've got a sum. Sum means I'm doing one thing plus another thing plus another thing. The sum of 3 numbers is 144. But we're told specifically that they are consecutive even numbers. Okay, so I'm going to let x equal the smallest number. I'm going to let x equal the smallest number, okay? So that number is going to go first. Let's pretend for a second that that number is 10, okay? It's not. That's not the right answer, but let's pretend it's a 10. Well, the next consecutive even number would be 10, 12, 14. So to get from one even number to the next number, what am I counting by? I'm doing 10, 12, 14. I'm counting by 2s. So that means x plus 2 is equal to the middle number. And then if I go to the first number again, if I add 2 more on, I'm adding on 4 to the original number. That is the largest number. Technically, this is the only thing that you have to write when it comes to defining a variable. And then the x plus 2 and the x plus 4 is implied that it's in terms of x being the smallest number. That's not the only way to define here. I could have defined the middle number as x. I could have defined the largest number as x. So there's at least 3 different equations you could write here, and they would all be valid. Now, if this was just 3 consecutive numbers, it would have been x, x plus 1, x plus 2, because I'd be counting by 1s if I was just doing consecutive numbers. If I was doing consecutive odd numbers like 1, 3, 5, I'm still counting by 2s, so I would still have the plus 2 and the plus 4. So now if I simplify the left-hand side of the equation, I get 3x plus 6. It's equal to 144. Subtract over that 6. Let's see, and you get, what, 138. And then we want to divide out the 3. Let's see, it's going to be 46, I believe. Let's see, 3 times 40 is 120. 3 times 6 is 18. 18 and 120 is 138. Yep, so x is 46. So that means the smallest number is 46. So the next even number is 48. And the final even number is 50, okay? So I'm going to write that the 3 consecutive even numbers are 46, 48, and 50. And that is my final answer. All right. Let me know what questions you have.